Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Love in a Puff, a Hong Kong romantic comedy from 2010 that stars Shawn Yue and Miriam Yeung. It was directed by Pang Ho-cheung, a director who was incredibly reliable during the 2000s and early 2010s. It reached a point where I was waiting with bated breath for each and every one of this man's new movies. Unfortunately, the quality of his films began to slowly decline until reaching a low point with his last film, Misbehavior, in 2019, and I do have a review of that one on my channel, by the way. But Love in a Puff was released when Pang was still at the top of his game, so let's take a look. Jimmy, played by Shawn Yue, is an advertising executive. He meets and befriends Cherie, played by Miriam Yeung, a cosmetic salesgirl, at a cigarette smoking club, shortly after Jimmy broke up with his girlfriend, who cheated on him. Over the next few days, Cherie flirts with Jimmy during their cigarette breaks and through text messages and excursions at night, while Cherie deals with relationship problems involving her live-in boyfriend. So yeah, at the beginning of this movie, they make almost like a little disclaimer or note saying that, you know, in a certain year, Hong Kong kind of bans smoking inside certain places. A lot of places around the world have done this, including the United States. So people on their smoke breaks would go out to designated smoking areas and just have little group sessions of smoking and chat. And that's basically the film in a nutshell. Now, the opening scene makes this movie seem like a dark thriller or horror movie, but that's an intentional misdirect by the filmmakers, and this opening moment serves as inspiration for a few scenes of humor that occur later on. The second scene is more in line with what you would expect from a Pang Ho-cheung comedy. It's very dialogue heavy and relies on storytelling between the characters. When making a film like this, you need an effective script, and thankfully these conversations feel natural and lively. Now, this is very important because the entire film basically revolves around a group of people who hang out while on their smoke breaks at work. You know what I mean? And there are other scenes, of course, that they mix in of our two lead characters who walk around at night and chat together, encountering certain things that inspire discussion. This is not really an eventful film per se, but there's always some type of fun interaction happening, you know, like everyday type stuff. It's surprisingly charming and the comedy works. There are a few, maybe slightly inappropriate conversations that occur in this, regarding maybe sex and love, but this is actually quite tame when compared to Trivial Matters from 2007 from the same director, I believe. So most of the dialogue in Love in the Puff takes the form of flirting, anecdotes, stories, and workplace gossip, and because of this, most people will have no problems with the comedy, and will likely consider it to be a strength of the film. But one of my favorite scenes involves a street cop who cites our two protagonists for littering, and they have a pretty funny discussion there. I also enjoyed the scene where a side character is waiting for a man she met on Facebook to treat her to dinner. And those situations occur quite a bit, even over a decade after this film was released. So it's quite humorous and kind of relatable, a lot of the stuff in this film. Now, performances are solid across the board. The only criticism that pops out to me is that, the tone of the film does get a little bit more serious during the final act. And this is something that we see all the time in, romantic comedies. And it's a criticism that I do tend to have with this subgenre. Sometimes I feel like we could just have fun the whole way. You don't have to make the movie serious, right? But they do kind of do that here. There's always a point where the romance reaches a pivotal moment that requires serious contemplation by the main characters, and we do get that here. And because of this, I think the final act is maybe not quite as purely entertaining as the rest of the film that came before it. But I do strongly recommend Love in a Puff. It's currently streaming on Netflix, so it's very easy to find. Now, there were, I believe, 2 sequels to this film, both of which are pretty good, but not as good as the first one. So if you enjoy this film, Love in a Puff, maybe you check out the sequels and see if you enjoy those as well. But as always, folks, I'll see you next time.